Hello and welcome to today's video. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Mitch, the creator of TopoMiller, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can do the exact same thing that I did and make a cool carving just like this Grand Canyon. So let's start with the material. A lot of people ask me, what did I use? Nothing fancy here. This is a 3/4 inch piece of Baltic birch plywood. I stacked 3 of them together, did a glue up overnight, and you can get this off Amazon. It's Baltic birch plywood. The next thing that's pretty important is how much of your end mill is going to be sticking out of the collet. So I actually had to take my dust boot off so I could give myself as much clearance as possible. The amount of room that you have from that collet where the end mill attaches into your spindle is really important. And the point here is that it needs to be, whatever's sticking out needs to be at least a little bit extra, a millimeter or 2 extra, more than your maximum cutting depth. So in this case, the river is my maximum cutting depth. I just need to make sure that that end mill is sticking out enough so the collet does not bump into the material. Next, I'm going to show you what the finished file looks like, and then we will wipe it clean. You can see that I've got my height and width here, around 12 inches by 12 inches, the thickness, and obviously you want to change this for your project personally. But I have the STL file here, and then I have my toolpaths. But again, we're going to start fresh. I want you to see exactly what I did so that you don't have any questions. Let's delete those toolpaths. We're also going to delete the STL. And now we're going to hop over to TopoMiller. So now that we're in TopoMiller, it's pretty straightforward. You're just going to select an area. In this case, I'm going to select this little part of the Colorado River that goes through Grand Canyon here. And I'm going to select STL because that's what I used for the project. You could also do a PNG height map if you want. So you can generate a 3D preview, check it out, see what it looks like. I do want to say that these settings on the left are mainly just for your own visualization purposes. So they're not going to carry over into your CAD program. And yeah, then you're just going to export that. Might take a few seconds to actually perform the export. And once you have this file, really, you're off to the races. So you can see that it only took me maybe a few seconds to actually get this elevation data. And now I'm going to bring it over into Carbide Create. I'm going to choose the STL portion, not the image import. This is the STL that we just got from TopoMiller, and you can see that is what we selected. Now here is where you set your height. And for my project, I think I put it about 1.6 with a base height of 5 millimeters. Because of the tool holdings or the stock holders, I didn't want my end mill to run into any of those. So I get a 5 millimeter base height. Let's apply that and check out the 3D preview. And yeah, you can see that that is really cool, very, very detailed. We're using 10 meter USGS data. So this is really exciting. We're gonna go over here and let's choose a roughing path. And again, you can go ahead and choose your settings here about how fast you want to cut, how much you want to use a step over, but I do suggest using a downcut bit for the roughing pass. So I'm using a 1/4 inch downcut, which means that those chips are going to be pushed down when the end mill is spinning and not being pulled up, especially important when you're working with plywood so you don't have a bunch of tear out, if at all possible. The next portion is going to be, well, actually, let me change this. I'm just going to increase the speed just to 100 for the feed rate for this roughing pass. And I think the most important part, we could probably all agree, is the finishing pass. Here you have to be really careful. If you're using something like a 1/16 bit, I'm using a 1/8 inch ball nose here for the finishing bit. But once those bits get smaller, you just need to be careful with your feeds and speeds because, 1/16 inch bit or 1/32, or even a 1/8, it could definitely break. So just be careful with your speed. I want to highlight the step over is also important. The smaller your step over, the more exact it's going to be, but you're also going to have a much larger cutting time. So you can see the demo here, the preview of what it's going to do on the cut, which is really cool. You see that finishing pass just going through and getting all that detail. So that's basically what you can expect. Pretty straightforward process. And now we're going to get into the cut. So you can see here that this is the roughing pass, really quickly just taking you through it. And you can see that why it's called a roughing pass. We've got just these rough edges here, but it's clearing out all that material that the smaller bits will not be able to clear out by themselves. And this is very sped up, you can see, but this is my 1/8 inch ball nose going through. I'm taking a Dremel and just doing some really light stuff, getting out any frillies, and you can see the end product is really awesome. The file prep is the easiest part, guys, so go ahead, check it out. Thanks for watching. It's www.TopoMiller.com, and we'll catch you next time.